since I saw you last. What else?
A lot better.
Yeah, how?
Well, I was going to counseling here on base, and she started getting into conflicts with our religion. You know, it's kind of like keep your religion on the outside of the door,
Yeah.
and that didn't go well. So right now we're counseling with our pastor. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I met him, didn't I? What's his name?
Pastor Way, Donald Way.
Yeah, tall.
Kind of grayish, yeah, he's grayish right here. Yeah.
What's let's see. Where were you going to counseling then before?
Here.
Here on base.
Mm-hmm.
What were they saying that was in conflict?
Well, the thing that...
That's a Baptist church, right?
Right.
I'm Baptist too.
Yeah. Well, the thing that she was saying was, she asked me if I had any hard feelings for my mother because she wasn't there when I was raped, and I said, well, yeah. And, you know, that was fine. That was like the first session, and then after that, it was, well, it's okay to say you hate your mother. And I said, no, I don't hate my mother. And she, one of her responses was, well, you can leave your religion on the outside of the door and you're in here. It's okay to say things like that. Well, we don't believe that way, you know.
Well,
what we believe on one side of the door is the same on the other, so.
Did she at least allow you to say that you, would your religion at least allow you to say that you disliked your mother or disagreed with some of the things that she did?
Oh, sure, I disagree with some of the things she did, but it's just,
But they wanted you to say?
Yeah, and then she had me write a letter to her telling her how I felt, and I think I said I didn't put a lot of feelings, you know, what she used as feelings were just the words she used. So we had to...
Write a letter?
Yeah.
To your mom?
To my mother. I didn't send it, it was just to write it so she could read it, you know, that way.
So who could read it? Your counselor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so your mom was never going to read it?
Oh, no.
Did you write that letter?
Yeah.
Do you remember some of would you mind telling me some of the things that you said?
I think it was basically just that I told her I, you know, was hurt that she wasn't there for me when I needed her, and I thought as I got older that she would be, you know, and it was just pretty much just around that, you know, general idea about how she wasn't there and, you know, how that kind of hurt that she wasn't there, and I felt like I needed her to be there. And,
Well, concerned, you know, to find out that you've stopped going to that counseling, but you say you're going to some other
yeah,
sessions.
we're going there right now, and then if that seems to help, you know, you'll find if not, then we're gonna still go to him and then find another, you know, another that maybe will be a little bit more religious, or at least, you know.
What are they doing differently?
Well, really, he's, well, we just started, as a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, you know, we just started, so I'm not real sure exactly what he's going to do. Right now, we've got a lot of papers we have to fill out and things like that, but what he's doing, and what I've been doing a lot of one-on-one counseling with his wife, is what she's doing is showing us how to apply our Bible principles, like to our marriage, to make our marriage stronger and show what's missing in our marriage. And, you know, I mean, we don't argue and fight all the time or anything like that, but it's just to show what's, you know, what's missing, and, you know, and how to deal with some of the feelings, you know, like, because I do, you know, I'm upset that my mother's not there, but I mean, I don't hate her or anything like that, and I can't really change it, but they're just kind of showing you how to go on and accept it and go on, and, well, and it's helped quite a bit, and we've been spending a lot of time with them, you know, we've been, they were over for dinner, and I've went out to lunch with her probably 3 or 4 times in the last month, and, you know, it's really helped a lot. It just showed us, I guess, a lot of things that we, you know, didn't realize were missing, and things like that.
Sherry, I want to talk to you about some things. And I want to tell you up front that I think you're going to look back on today and view today as a point in your life when things got a lot better. I want to talk to you about some things and try to get some things straight that I believe are the basis of a lot of the problems you've had in the past. Is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, your husband brought you up here, is that right?
Right.
Have you, I want to make sure that what we discuss is understandable.
Okay.
You know, that you understand what I'm saying, and that I understand what you're saying. So I need to, well, I want you to understand that you're here of your own free will, and that, you know, you didn't have to come up here to see me, and that you can leave anytime you don't want to talk to anymore. If I say anything that offends you, if I say something or start talking about something you don't want to talk about, I want you to know that you can leave anytime. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
You said when did you quit counseling?
It was just a couple of weeks ago. It was like right after we picked up, you know.
Okay, so have you been to the hospital recently? Have you been Have you been sick lately? Or
I had a gynecology appointment, was it last week before last? I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
Have you been taking any medication?
They gave me something for infection. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it's I've already taken it. I take it, it's full.
You finished?
10-day course, yeah.
And that's the only medicine
Yeah.
You don't know what that was?
Gosh.
Wasn't penicillin, was it?
No, I didn't know there was penicillin. It was
Penicillin?
according to the name, it was an odd name. And
Does that medicine do anything to you? Do you notice when you take it that you're sleepy or?
no, I never really noticed any difference at all.
Okay. As I said before, I wanted to talk to you about some things that you may find uncomfortable. But I think it's really the root of all your problems. And I'd like you to, well, first of all, I'd like you to tell me about what sort of things you think are the most traumatic events in your life. If you had to list them, what would they be?
In order? Or just list them?
List them, yeah.
List them.
What's the most, I guess in severity?
The most
Well,
traumatic...
we can do it either way, chronologically or in severity.
Gosh, it's kind of hard. Both, I would say right up there at number one would be the rape and the loss of our daughters would be the worst.
Okay. When you say the rape,
When I was 15.
yeah, well, there's been a couple. Can you, okay, the rape and then the loss of your daughters, and then what else?
Maybe the treatment from home, I think, would be another one. And then
Treatment from your
father, mostly.
father, okay.
Um,
oh, I wanted to tell you something. After you and I talked,
mhm.
well, about a week after you and I talked the last time, I called the Dayton Police Department and told them that, that things had been cleared up. And they told me that they were going to file a false police report charges against you. And I told them that I didn't think that was necessary, that you just had some problems that needed to be worked out, and that you really weren't in control of yourself when those things happened. And based on what I promised them, that is that I would get back in touch with you and see how you were doing periodically and make sure that didn't happen again. They agreed not to pursue any criminal charges against you. Okay, that's why you haven't heard from them. Otherwise, have you? Okay. Just want to let you know that that's been taken care of, and I'm going to try to work things out for you. Now go on. Tell me about we talked about your father before. You insisted at that time that your father really hadn't done anything to you that you thought was not right. Is that
Well, I mean, I don't feel it wasn't right. He didn't do anything. He had a bad temper, but he never actually hit me. I can remember doing it to my younger brother, but mostly his was, I'd say mostly verbal abuse. I think was directed towards me or things like that. Or some of his actions. But as far as he ever hit me, it wasn't.
We hear about sexual abuse all the time from parents to children. Is that?
No, I never had a problem with that.
Okay.
He was pretty much even the opposite. He wasn't affectionate at all.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about this? Is there only 4 traumatic events in your life? What would you say are some more?
It's really the most things I can think of right now. I mean, it was upsetting when like Nicholas got sick. That was, but he was okay. So
you worked through that?
Yeah, I mean, he's fine.
What about when you were living in the trailer park? And the neighbor that came by. There was a rape in your trailer park. How does that rank in with these other things?
It ranks, but it doesn't bother me as much as what happened when I was 15, I would say.
Okay. Do you feel good about talking about what happened? Do you feel okay about talking about what happened with the dentist?
Yeah.
How would you describe that event to a total stranger? Which I hope you don't think I'm a total stranger, but we have talked quite a bit.
I really don't know what you want. What do you mean?
Well, what were the really bad things? What were the really bad results out of that?
The bad results.
The dentist, he did some work on your teeth, right?
Right.
And then as you were telling me before, he anesthetized you and you had no control when he raped you. I can't remember if that occurred once, or was that one time, or did you?
One time.
One time. Have you confronted him with those? Have you confronted him with what happened personally?
I had to go into his office on one evening where I had to be like the police department had me wired up to try and get him to admit what he'd done, and that was the first time that he was confronted with it.
Okay, I think I remember reading about that. Okay. Have you seen or talked to him since then?
I seen him, it might have been a couple of years ago, because the town where I used to be from was small, and I was happened to be in a grocery store with my mother, and he like went through the next line, and that's the only time I've seen him since.
Did he see you?
I'm pretty sure he did, yeah.
Did he say anything or do
No.
anything? Just...
He just kind of looked, and that was it.
What kind of scars do you think that's left with you?
It's left scars that I really didn't realize, I guess, in a way of dealing in our marriage. Kind of the attitudes I have towards my husband, because I care about him and I love him very much, but I'm just not the wife, you know, in the sexual sense that I should be to him. And that's caused a lot of problems, and that's one of the things we're trying to work out through the counseling, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think I blame myself for that, so I feel, I don't want to say I don't feel guilty, but I feel kind of horrible if we do something sexual, and if I think I enjoy it, because I feel like I shouldn't be because of what happened, you know. But like I said, that's something we're trying to get worked out.
The death of the two girls, Holly and Christina,
Mm-hmm.
how does that, tell me about how you worked through that.
Well, in some ways we're still working through it, because we still think about it quite a bit. You know, there'd be certain times of the year or certain things, you know, that goes on that reminds us of things like that. We really, you know, we just kind of, for a while, we kind of went our separate ways and tried to work on it ourselves. I mean, when I say our separate ways, I mean we kind of didn't talk too much to each other about it, but we tried to work it out on our own. And then we sat down and we had our grieving period. And I don't know, like I said, we're still kind of working on it. Something's not forgotten. There's things that happen, like I said, maybe 1 week that will remind you, or, you know, and the thing that's in our household is we have 3 boys, but we know that, you know, we feel like there's something missing, because we know we had girls and we don't have girls now, and it's, you know, it just feels like there's a big part missing, the part that we're not going to have, or it's not going to be filled.
Tell me what you remember about Holly's death.
I don't remember about that.
Where you were. I've never talked to you about.
Well, Holly's death, I can just, in an afternoon, and Tim's mom and dad were visiting us from Ohio. They had flown to Hawaii for Christmas. And it was 3 days after Christmas. And Tim was getting ready to leave for work, so I put her down for a nap. And the grandparents and I believe Stephen, I'm not real sure. I think he was at the pool with them, I don't remember. And Tim left for work, and some friends called that we had went to school with. They happened to live in the next apartment next to us. Had called and asked, their car had broken down at the mall, which was maybe 5 or 10 minutes away, I'm not exactly sure. Could I come and get them? Because she was due to have a baby, you know, fairly soon. No, I take that back. She'd already had it, but she just had had it. So I said,
Did they
well...
have the baby with them?
Mm-hmm. So I told them when, you know, my mother and father-in-law came back from that downstairs that I could go and get them. So they came back, and I went and got them. And when I got back, I said, I want to guess maybe 10 or 15 minutes at the most. I'm not sure.
After the phone call?
Yeah. I mean, no, after the parents, Tim's mom and dad came up, which that might have been maybe 10 minutes from the phone call. The time we left, I'm not sure.
Okay, so you left about 10 or 15 minutes after his parents came upstairs?
No, I left about 10 or 15 minutes after the phone call that...
Oh, okay.
Okay,
so
they came upstairs.
His parents came upstairs. How long after the phone call do you think?
I'd say about 10 or 15 minutes. It didn't take it was that long.
So like you walked out almost as they walked in, is that right?
No, we were there for a little bit because, you know...
A little bit of exchange?
Yeah. You know, because I told them where I was going, and they said, okay, go, don't worry about anything, and all that. So then I left, and when I came back, they were all down in the lobby, and well, I went upstairs to the 15th floor, that's where we lived. I went through the parking garage. And when there wasn't anybody there, at first I didn't think anything about it, because I thought, well, she might have waken up and they all went down either the pool or, they'd been taking on walks in the afternoons. And I got a call up on the phone to come down in the lobby. And when I went down in the lobby, I can remember Tim's dad was upset and crying, and he said it was Holly, and they wouldn't let me see her. They made me go back upstairs. And a lot of that, it seemed like there was a lot of confusion afterwards. I knew something was wrong, and then I don't even remember who told me that she was gone. I don't remember if it was Tim's mom or who it was. I can remember the friends that I went and got. They were there with us at the time and stayed there.
Who did you talk to about this? Did you start this grieving process while you were still in Hawaii, you think, or did you have to wait, or?
It was,
Did you talk to anybody about what happened then?
Yeah, we had to talk to, I believe a police officer came that day, and we talked about that. Not that many people. I know Tim's first sergeant at the time, came and talked to us and see if we needed anything. But it was all kind of such a rush. We had to find out what kind of plans we'd make, because we knew we had to fly back home, and we were trying to get money and get things together, and it was just a big mad rush for the next 3 or 4 days. I'm not even sure how many days after she died we left. I don't remember.
Did you call anybody and talk to anybody while you were right then?
I can remember calling, or I had to call work because I was off of work, and told them that she had died. And
now, who told your family all this? Who told your family what happened?
I didn't. I want to say maybe Tim did. I'm not sure. Because the only person he probably would have called would have been my grandmother, and she would have taken over from there, calling the rest of the people. But I didn't, so I don't know who did. I know I can remember calling at work, and then I also called the kid, this babysitter who had watched him in Hawaii, to let her know. And as far as I can remember, there's only 2 people that I called, because we didn't know that many people yet, and the friends that we went to school with were in the apartment with us at the time. So, but I don't remember calling the parents.
What did the doctors tell you about that death?
Well, we never actually talked to the doctors. We went ahead and flew home, and they said that her body would be held back there till they did an autopsy, and then she would be sent home for the funeral. We had the funeral, and we were home. We stayed in Hawaii for a month, and got back. And when we got back, there was just a piece of paper in the mail, I guess from the coroner's office. I'm not sure who it was from, just saying that she had died of SIDS. And so we never actually talked to any doctors or anybody or anything like that.
Has it sparked any interest on your part about what SIDS is all about?
We did some reading afterwards, and the only thing we could, this was on our own, the only thing we could come up with is it's something that people can't explain. It's just something that happens, and we were kind of frustrated because we always felt that maybe there was something else wrong, and this is our opinion, that SIDS is a way to say, well, we can't find anything else, so let's just diagnose as it SIDS, and that's the way we felt about it. But we never really got into that much literature, because it didn't seem like there was that much available at the time to look into.
How about after Christina's death? Did you get more involved or more curious about what causes these sort of deaths?
Well, we didn't really relate her death to SIDS, because they told us that she had that apnea problem, so we didn't really consider it SIDS for that matter.
Do you know what causes apnea, or what apnea is?
Apnea is just where they stop breathing. Because we had to go through, the CPR and the training for the monitors each time and all that. But because they were determining, what they told us when we left Children's, and said that they were...
You know that apnea is not a disease, don't you? Mm-hmm. Apnea is just a medical term for ceasing breathing. Mm-hmm. But you didn't think that... What do you think caused Christina's death?
Well, we always thought that it was due to... I forget what they call it now. It's like a reflex problem they were saying that she had, because Adam had it, and he was constantly spitting up, and we had to elevate his bed and things, and they were telling us, well, when the hospital called back from Children's, telling us they weren't going to do an autopsy, that they knew what it was, and they were talking about the reflex problems, and them saying that she had respirated her milk back down into her lungs, we just assumed that's what happened, and that's what killed her and stopped her, had her to stop breathing.
I've looked at the autopsy on Holly and the death investigation summary on Christina. And Christina's, especially some of the things you're telling me right now, are not things that are written in the death summary. that they examined her lungs and there was no fluid aspirated.
No, when we got to Patterson, I can remember the doctor coming and telling us that he was talking about pumping a lot of formula out of her lungs and
It should have been written down somewhere, and it wasn't.
Oh, I don't know. I just remember when we were in the sitting in the waiting area, that's what he said, that they had, taken a lot of formula out of her lungs at the time.
That seems strange. In fact, I brought a copy of that investigation here. We'll look at that in a few minutes and see if there's anything. I started getting interested in this after I talked to you the last time, and coincidentally, at about the same time, I read an article as part of my research into this about a finding that helps protect parents like yourself who have children and suspect that it's either historical or SIDS deaths or apnea problems or family type traits that are passed on. Yeah, there's a test they have now using a gene testing with DNA that allows a doctor to predict whether or not a child will have SIDS-related problems or this apnea problem. And it's really pretty neat. It really helps out.
Must just be recently then,
just a couple months ago when I first started doing this. At any rate, there's a genetic defect in the DNA that allows is only hampers children for the first few months. What's the ages where kids can die of SIDS or usually do?
It's usually in the first year.
First year, yeah. This genetic defect doesn't have any an effect on kids after they're a year old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's. Had you heard about this this prediction ability?
No, that would be nice.
Yeah. Well, they can do that now. They can. Like if you get another child, or y'all plan on having any more children?
No, he had a vasectomy, so because we thought there's something wrong, because we didn't know, we didn't.
Did he have a vasectomy?
Yeah, April or May this year, I'm not sure. Yeah, because we had really very much wanted to try for one more time.
Did he have that reversed?
He had it reversed once.
Oh, he had a vasectomy before and then reversed it?
Yeah, because he had the vasectomy after Christina was born, and then after she died, he had it reversed.
Whose idea was this?
It was kind of both of ours.
Y'all talked about it?
Yeah.
There's a downside to this recent discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Can you pick out any downsides? Can you come up with any bad sides to this sort of finding?
Well, because it would rule out whether or not, I guess they had the genes were there.
In the autopsy on Holly, I've watched several autopsies. I don't want to bore you with the details of an autopsy, but they take samples and they preserve samples of tissue from people that are autopsied. In Christina's death, there was some blood drawn, some blood work done, and those things were archived as well. Those tissue samples have been checked for this DNA problem, and they have on Christina's anyway. Holly's tests aren't back yet. Christina's death has been ruled out as not a SIDS death. So we need to talk about what happened to her, and not necessarily so much what happened to her, but why these things happened to her. We see the same as I go back and look through your life. and the things that had happened to you in the past. I guess I almost sense that perhaps what's happened to you in the past has had something to do with Christina's death and her not being around anymore.
I don't understand how that would happen.
Well, I've talked to Dr. Gibson, and he tells me that you said the same thing to him one time. And perhaps the rape by this dentist had something to do with Christina's death.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way.
Can we explore that just a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
And what makes you think that?
Because a lot of the, I can just remember, like all the medicine he used. Like I said, I knew one of them was nitrous oxide. I don't know what the other one was. And then I can remember like the dental instruments he used. I can remember like 2 or 3 of them. I don't know what they were. It's like that he used inside of me. Like he stuck those in there first, and I always felt that that damaged somebody, that it caused, some type of problems or things like that.
Well, I think it caused some problems. I really think it caused some problems. But I don't think it caused any physical problems. I think it caused some severe emotional problems. And some very real some emotional problems. Do you ever get that impression?
Well, sure, it's been, it's always caused emotional problems, It's not something I'm ever going to forget.
No, it's not. It's something that you wouldn't want to happen to anybody else.
Right.
Is that right?
Sure.
How would you feel about your daughter growing up and having to be subjected to something like that? Would that be?
I never really thought about it that way.
No?
No.
If I were in your shoes, I'd be afraid. I wouldn't want a daughter of mine to be subjected to that sort of thing.
I guess I never really thought about that aspect of it. You think about the kids and you wonder what it's going to be like for them, and with all the things that are going on, and in society and all that, you worry about that. But I never remember worrying about one particular thing that that I wanted to shield any of them from.
Dr. Gibson tells me that you were in his office the morning that Christina died.
He was at the hospital. He had to pick up a last report or something.
And talk to him?
Yeah.
About? Do you remember what about? Because he remembers.
I can remember going to the hospital because it was kind of frustrating because we couldn't get the answer to the last test, and he found the answers out for us. But I can't really remember, what we talked about.
He remembers you talking about problems that may come up with Christina, and what if questions. What if she develops some of the same problems or symptoms that Holly had? What if she what if she doesn't breathe properly, and you talked to him also about future children, didn't you? Do you remember that?
I can remember, yeah, we can remember talking to him about future children, it's like what's going to happen with future children and things like that, I can remember that conversation. I don't know when it took place or anything.
Do you remember where Timothy was when Christine died?
It seemed like he went out to get something, but he was gone like 5 minutes. He wasn't gone very long. He might have even been right outside. I don't remember for sure.
Do you remember some family trauma right about the same time? Wasn't he preparing to go somewhere?
Not that I can remember.
He's going to go TDY here shortly. How do you feel about him going TDY? Or how did you feel back then about him going TDY?
I never really liked it, and I don't think nobody likes it.
I don't think you did either.
Yeah.
I think it caused some real problems for you.
But I learned to accept that it was part of his...
Not sure. I don't think you really accepted it.
I mean, I'm speaking from now. I don't know about then.
It seems to me that when I go back and look at all the things that happened in your life, that one of the traumatic things that I think you probably should have listed when we first started talking is Tim leaving.
See, I guess I don't think about that, because he, it doesn't bother me. I've come to realize, it's a part of his...
Was he TDY when you were raped?
Gosh, I don't remember. I want to say no. I want to say he was working second shift then. We were going 3-11, but I can't be sure because I don't remember.
Tell me again how you think that this rape may have affected Christina's death. There were some real problems inside, right? About how you deal with people.
I don't know how it would have affected her death, is what I was trying to think of.
You told Dr. Gibbs what it did. Here's what we've got. Okay, we've got Christina's death. And a severe bout with Nicholas that at first is attributed to a near Sid's death. But neither one of their tissue samples or blood samples, which were tested for this DNA defect, come back to Sid's death or Sid's near death. So we have to start thinking about, well, what else could have happened to Christina? What else could have happened to Nicholas? And it all comes back to you. It all comes back to you being along with Christina, you being along with Nicholas at the time of these two incidents. Do you know much about trials and evidence and things like that? Do you know what circumstantial evidence is?
A little bit. I know we had to go through that.
Some things that happen that have to go to trial aren't proven guilty. They aren't proven by an eyewitness. They're proven all the time just by what we call circumstantial evidence, and that is that certain things happen in a certain sequence. Put them all together, and a reasonable person would believe that the person accused did something that's not right. If we put all these things together, which I have, and presented it to people that were reasonable, and rule out cause of death as being just something unexplained, or it's not something unexplained, but a sense disorder, then we have to start looking at you very, very deeply as being a person who's done something that she shouldn't. Personally, I don't think that's true. There's a big difference between doing something that you shouldn't and doing something because you're not sure of what's right or what to do. There's an awful lot that's gone wrong in your life. Tim knows about some of it. Tim knows about a lot of it, probably. But not many other people know about it except me. I've got to make a decision. Do I start assuming that you've done something that a very, very bad person would do, a criminal would do, someone that has no heart? Or do I start thinking of you as a person who maybe even prevented this little girl from a severe traumatic life, such as the one you had? How do you feel about that?
Part of me feels angry, and part of me feels like hurt, because if anybody's ever around me, they know how much I care about my kids and how much I love them.
I'm not saying that you don't care about your kids. Okay. I believe you do. I've seen those children. Can I help you, ma'am?
I'm sorry, I thought, did someone give a wastebasket over our office?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Sorry, buddy. I didn't say, I'm not going to say to anybody, I've seen your children. What's the oldest one's name? Stephen? That is an adorable young man. Somebody can just take a look at him and know that he's got everything going for him. He's had a mother that cares for him. I'll take that boy home in a minute. He's a good kid.
Would you have a fight on your hands?
Probably would, yeah. But some real severe things have happened to you in your life. And I think those things have caused you to do some things that you wouldn't normally do. They've caused you to do some things that you probably regret. And I think those things need to come to a head. Those things need to be discussed. Not only for your well-being, but also so that people will know exactly what happened and why. You follow me?
Mhm.
If something like this were to go to court and people only saw one side of it, that is my side, or the side that's on paper, that the death could not be a Sid's death, and that you were the only one around the child shortly before she died, one has to assume the obvious, that without any other explanation, that you did something that you should go to jail for, or you did something that is that only a criminal would do. And I don't think that's right. I think there's some deep-seated reasons here that we need to explore and get your side down on well, not necessarily on paper. If you just want to tell me what happened and how it happened, and that Christina didn't die a very violent, hurtful death, that she just simply went to sleep, then that's something that we can work through. It's not something that's not unheard of. I've done a lot of reading on problems like what I see right here, and I know for a fact that lots of women every year have the same sort of, not exactly the same sort of things, because I don't know of anybody that's had as many problems as you've had. As many things go wrong with a person in such a sequence, in such a short amount of time as you have. There's some real hard and fast reasons for some of the things that happen. But you need to work through that, and you really need to get some things out in the open and tell somebody. Did you want those sort of things, the same sort of things that happened to you, happen to Christina?
No, it wouldn't happen to anybody.
Was Christina not receiving the right medical treatment? Was you bringing her to the hospital and people just weren't seeing what was right? Or a real problem that she may have had?
You still lost me, kind of.
Did she have some problems that maybe the doctors didn't know about? That you perceived that no one else had seen?
Not that I can remember, unless it's something that, that might have happened that you just don't think about telling somebody. I don't. Not that I know of.
What happened then? What sort of things led up to Christina not breathing anymore?
I don't know exactly what led up to it. I just know that...
You know what led up to it because you were there.
Well, I mean, I don't know what... I guess I don't know what you're trying to ask.
I want you to tell me what happened. You know exactly what I want.
On the particular day? That's what you want?
Yeah, I want to know what happened from start to finish. Why did Christina stop breathing?
Why did we have her at the hospital that day?
Was it something that you were... Did you have something against Christina?
No.
It wasn't something real... You didn't have any anger towards her, did you? You didn't want to treat her badly, did you?
I never treated her badly.
No, I don't think you did. I think she just slipped away. You going to come to grips with this? Can we talk about it?
Sure.
Why don't you tell me what happened?
I can remember.
Sherry, you've relived all this all your life. You've relived this since Christina died. I don't doubt that there's some nights you can't go to sleep because of what happened. You see, I know what happened. I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but I know that you caused her to stop breathing. Now, you either did it in a really hurtful way, or it was done in a way that she didn't feel any pain. And there's lots of things to attribute this to. There's lots of things that we can point to in your past that can lead me to believe. In fact, I already believe that all these things occurred in your life and ultimately caused the death of Christina. But we need to talk about it. You need to be honest with me. You need to be honest with yourself. Now tell me what happened.
can remember feeding her a bottle.
Okay. Was it a plastic bottle?
Yeah, because we never had glass ones, always had plastic bottles. And it was around that time that, I guess after Holly died and we came home, and we tried to have another baby, and we had another, we found out we was going to have another one. And all of the frustration and the anger we got from everybody because we were doing something terrible.
What, having a baby too soon? Is that what it was?
No, having one too soon, but
Having one at all?
having another one at all, but we shouldn't have had anymore.
Okay.
And nobody wanted me to work, so we agreed that I wouldn't work until she got to be a lot older,
Okay.
which was we had set kind of between Tim and myself. We had set a 6 months period. As, if everything's fine by the time she's 6 months, then you go ahead and leave to work. And
You were feeding her a bottle?
yeah.
And then what happened?
I put her down in the crib.
Did something happen before you put her down in the crib?
No.
Did you squeeze the bottle too hard?
No.
And accidentally force some of the formula into her lungs? What happened then?
Well, I put her back down in the crib.
Yeah.
And she started crying, so I picked her back up and we went and sat back in the living room for a while. And I just kept thinking about, everybody kept telling us how cute she was and how pretty she was, and that if we didn't watch out, that the boys would be after her and things like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't want her hurt.
Well, I don't think you did her.
I didn't want her to go through what I went through.
Okay.
And I can remember holding her and telling her how much I loved her. And I knew that I could cause her to go to a better place than she was going to grow up here.
Okay. That's true.
Because she was a very beautiful little girl. They kept telling me that the whole family and everybody you seen was something was going to happen to her because she's so pretty, and I was so scared.
Okay.
So all I did was just put my hand over her nose until she stopped breathing.
Okay. Well, she didn't feel any pain then. How long did you have to hold your hand over her nose? Do you remember? You don't remember? How do you know she stopped breathing?
Because she was close enough to me because I was holding her.
Okay. What happened then?
I just held her for a while.
Just held her for a little while? Okay. You think that she left this world knowing that somebody loved her?
I hope so.
No, I think she did.
And I know that's the reason that I'm trying to get the help I am now. And we have become good Christian people that we can go to church, and so I can see her again.
Yeah, okay.
But after I held her, I just laid her down and think.
Okay. How long was that?
Because apparently he was only gone 5 minutes or so. It wasn't good enough.
Then what happened?
Then that's when he tried to resuscitate her. And then he called the lights on.
Nicholas had a similar problem, didn't he?
No.
I remember reading some stuff about Nicholas. He had some of the same symptoms.
I mean, the only thing that I do know about Nicholas is
Now,
that...
Nicholas didn't die, okay? What I think happened is that the same sort of thing happened with Christina, but I think maybe you changed your mind. Is that possible?
We never did anything to Nicholas. All I can remember is that we were complaining all day, and we'd even talked to the doctors about the grunting that he'd had all day. And,
Yeah.
and
Were the doctors maybe not paying close enough attention to it?
what they wasn't paying attention to was the fact that we brought him home, and newborns sleep all the time, or they take the bottle and they go back to sleep, and he wasn't doing that.
he was just not happy. He's like, we couldn't do anything to make him happy. We,
Yeah.
you know, and we tried, we kept telling them that something's not right, and they just wasn't listening.
Well, I can understand that. I can also understand that you may have wanted the doctors to take a closer look at him.
Because after all the kids we've had, we knew.
Wouldn't it be nice then to, I wish sometimes that I could force doctors to pay a little bit closer attention to my children. What I think happened, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is that you simply wanted these doctors to take a little bit closer look at Nicholas and assure you that he didn't have any real problems. I think what happened is that you caused Nicholas to have some of the same symptoms by him almost dying, and thereby force the doctors to put him in intensive care and take a real close look at what his real problems are. Is that possible? Can you tell me about when that happened and how that happened? Were you alone or was Tim home?
He was home for a good while, and then I remember what he did.
Tim left.
He went outside or something.
Okay, well, how did you make sure that Nicholas wasn't going to die because of this? What happened?
I just,
How did you make him stop breathing for a while?
just the same way.
How? Were you in the living room? Were you in the bedroom?
In the bedroom.
In the bedroom? On the bed? Were you holding him so that he knew that you loved him? Then what happened?
And I just put my hand over his nose just for a little bit.
Did you squeeze his nose? Is that what caused the bleeding, perhaps?
I don't know.
I don't know. Did you squeeze his nose? And you'd have to hold his mouth closed then too, is that right? So what happened then? How did you know he?
And I just for a little bit, just until I don't remember what he did. He didn't stop breathing. He never stopped breathing. But I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't gonna die, that nothing was gonna happen to him. But I just felt that there was something wrong. I mean, he wasn't acting right. I mean, even Tim can tell anybody that. He just wasn't, I don't know, it's like he wasn't happy. He wouldn't drink his formula. He wouldn't sleep, and just something was wrong. And all I kept thinking was what
The doctors weren't looking at him close enough?
it's like they wasn't paying any attention. And even when I was in the labor room, I can remember him telling me that his heart rate had dropped at the time, and I had to lay in a different position. And when he was born, he was blue, and they had to give him oxygen. And I was just afraid that something was going to happen. And when I kept telling him that he wasn't acting right, nobody was paying any attention.
Okay. Well, it sounds like what you were doing for Nicholas was, an effort to help him. That's fine. Remember I told you about these tissue samples that were saved from Holly's autopsy? Those have been tested too, but we haven't, there's a slight chance, very slight, that since it happened so long ago, the tissue samples that they tested aren't from Holly. And fortunately, the bodies are buried close by in Greenfield. Is that where you're from? We may at some point want to ensure that those tissue samples are indicative of Holly. But based on the results we have right now, that death wasn't a city death either. So I'd like to know, just for my own personal benefit, did you feel the same things about Holly that you did for Christina? Did you have the same sort of fears for her when she was growing older, when she grew older?
I never thought about it. I never thought about it until after Christina was born, and the way she looked, and people kept telling us that.
What did people think about Holly?
Not that many people seen Holly in the family.
Because see, I'm going to once if those tests are done and they come back the same way, then I'm gonna have to come back and talk to you again. So we can make a clean slate of everything if you'll tell me also that Holly didn't die from some real malicious thing that you did, that it occurred in the same way, maybe. Were you holding her, perhaps, when she died? How did that happen? Was it the same way? Where were you?
She was in her bed.
Was she in the crib, or was she in another chair, or?
No, she was in bed at the time. They both kids shared a room, so.
We got it. Well, what was she wearing? Do you remember what she was wearing?
I know she must have had a dress on, but I don't remember what.
I've heard you always dressed those girls in pretty dresses. Took real good care of them. What, was it the same sort of thing? Tell me, was it the same sort of thing that caused Christine to stop breathing? What made you think of that at that time?
I don't remember.
Do you remember what was driving you? Something that I can kind of latch onto as a reason for this happening?
I know the time, it was right around the time after we moved to Hawaii. I found out that when Tim was in basic training, that he wasn't actually seeing somebody else, but he was writing to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And
Back here in Ohio?
No, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I found all the letters and things that she wrote to him, and how I can remember her response, not only but her side, was something about, yes, I wish that, Holly wished mine and yours and not Sherry's, something about she didn't deserve her, and all this. Like I said, this was her side. I don't know what Tim said or anything like that. And I just remember thinking, maybe he's right. Maybe I don't deserve anybody because of what happened and all that.
How did that fit in with Holly dying? Or her not being here anymore? Was Holly something that he really wanted?
He didn't really, no, because he didn't really pay any attention to it.
What sort of things motivated you then?
It was just, like I said, I was just thinking about, maybe...
Upset about him seeing somebody else possibly, or leaving you sometime?
It wasn't that, it was just that I kept thinking, he doesn't care, he doesn't really pay any attention to her, and I felt like he was so wrapped up with this other person that he didn't care about her, and I wanted to show her I cared, and I did care, and I had to
show who you cared.
Holly.
Oh, okay.
And I had to go to work like right after she was born, and we had to leave her, and
Well, that's not good.
and especially in Hawaii where we didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
And I just, I thought there's got to be a better life for her than this, because Stephen he paid attention to. It was just her, and I thought maybe she's a reminder of what happened to me. Maybe that's what, the reason he don't want to be close to her. I don't know.
So how did it happen?
The same way.
You held her nose closed and then kept her mouth closed. Did she struggle much? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Did you close your eyes when it happened?
I don't remember that either.
Do you remember? How do you remember? Do you remember knowing that she was dead?
No, I didn't actually know if she was dead or not.
Or did you expect the results for her?
I really didn't know. I just know that she had quit breathing.
So then what did you do when she quit breathing?
I remember just holding her for a while, and then it seems like if I can remember that she was kind of gasping. She didn't. I want to say like she wasn't breathing, but yet she would gasp a couple of times. So after, that...
You have to hold her nose tighter then when she gasped?
No, this was after. I can just remember that.
Were you still holding her when she...
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened?
Then I just put her in the crib.
Had she stopped moving at that point?
And that was about that time that the phone rang.
Okay. Why didn't you tell anybody about this? You think people just don't understand?
People are gonna think that I'm a terrible person for what I did.
I think those people don't know you very well.
And
What do you think of what you did?
I miss them both very much. And I thought that in time I wouldn't miss them as much, but I do. I miss them a whole lot more than when I see our three boys growing up and I see what they could have been and I think about how old they are. But then I think, what would have happened to them? Especially Christina, what would have happened to her if she actually did turn out the way everybody said she did? And I'd do anything to keep any of them from getting hurt.
Well, you can certainly tell that by looking at your other kids. Tell you what, I'm gonna step out for just a minute. Here's some Kleenex. Can I just get you to sit here for just a second? Try to compose yourself, and that way you can think of some things you want to ask me about what's been going on, okay? And I'll be back in just a couple of seconds. I need you a drink of water, okay? Okay? Be right back.